What's up, everybody? Welcome to Beats and B-Sides Map Your Transition series. In this episode, we will be breaking down my song Hot Lead, which was the lead single from my newest album, The Transition. This should be a fun one, you know what I'm saying? All right, hope y'all ready. Let's go. The song was originally written some time ago, actually, and recorded in the Labyrinth Studios over a track by Aaron Evans, who is one of my closest friends, and also who ran Dove Inc. and who I was on that label with. The original sounds a little something like this.
Never mind what kind of gun this is. All I know is it goes boom, boom. And it sprays hot lead all over wise guys like you.
Yo, I notice avoiding hip-hop, my job's to fill the emptiness. While you work on getting famous, I'm inches from infamous. Cause I write like a kamikaze, lives life. Detonate cockpits when I spit, tongue lashing, I'm crashing, mic see. Uncommon beauty is commonly overlooked. So for that reason, I kept walking past my
So
crown.
yeah, as you can see, I kept kind of the original feel, you know, with just the drum break, light instrumentation, and kept it raw and kept it gritty. We were working on an album at the time. For some reason, the album didn't come out. I don't exactly remember what the circumstances were, but as I, thought about it at the time, I wasn't ready for these lyrics to be spread out to the world yet. And, years later, fast forward, I'm going through old songs in the process of making the transition. And I had already had the title track written and done, had a couple other tracks already done, and I didn't have an intro yet, didn't know what was going to be the first track. And I'm going through old songs and this comes up, and it really spoke to where I was at the time that I was making the transition. So there you have it. That's a little history of the song Hot Lead. So I'm gonna jump right into the breakdown. Let's get started with the verse. I notice avoiding hip hop, my job's to fill the emptiness. While you work on getting famous, I'm inches from infamous, cause I write like a kamikaze lives life. Detonate cockpits when I spit, tongue lashing, I'm crashing mic see. Uncommon beauty is commonly overlooked. So for that reason, I kept walking past my crown. That's why I love living life in circles, cause I seem to find things that I missed the first time around. Now I'm back to where I started, a driven artist with purpose, a little older, a little wiser, no longer depressed or worthless. I'm starving again, homie. Hunger can't explain. I'll bite the hand that feeds from fingertip to shoulder blade. And just a little while ago, I was thinking about retirement. I was fed up with rappers in this industry's environment. But Rome wasn't built in a day or even two. God called me to change the world, and I'm starting with you. I sing like no one's listening and dance like no one's watching. For me, it's an exercise. You have no other option. Call yourself an artist, but the art isn't done right. I blossom in the darkness while you wither in sunlight. See, I make masterpieces and laugh at your bars. Take a hint. I'm leaving footprints in the path of the stars. Place all your egos on the top shelf, cause victory's in the preparation for the game, not the game itself. Now, when I die, I'm gonna fly with the angels. And when I die to the angels, where I land, you can't imagine. I'm concerned with the condition of my soul's transition, and your biggest concern is rocking the latest fashions. The passion was lost before I found my balance. Now I know it takes a little more than ink and talent to progress. It's time for me to make moves and take control of the reins of my career. And in the process, I'll obliterate the nonsense. I do this for my 3 sons, my wife in close cipher. For every fan I've ever had the pleasure to inspire. I've walked through the fires so you wouldn't burn your hands, and I've drowned in the water so you could stay on dry land. I've walked in the rain so you can notice the rainbows. I've drowned in the pain so you can smile when the sun glows. My tongue's a gun, and when it's cocked back, this is what I do. All right, so that's the lyrics for Hot Lead, all right? So we're going to break these lyrics down. So it starts out, I notice avoiding hip hop, my job's to fill the emptiness. Now, one of the things about me when I first started rhyming, I wanted to be different. I wanted to be something that people had never heard and had never seen. And at the time when I first started, wasn't nobody talking about emotion like that in hip hop, at least in hip hop that I was seeing on BET and, on the jukebox and, on TV Raps, Rap City, etc. So, I thought that that was something that was missing, the vulnerability in hip hop, the emotion, you know what I'm saying? And emotion other than anger, you know what I'm saying? Like other than anger and horniness and love, you know what I mean? We did have some educational hip hop at the time, but we didn't have a lot of hip hop that was dealing with mental health. We didn't have a lot of hip hop that was actually dealing with how, you know, we feel about ourselves and how we are emotionally at the time. And I saw that that was a void, you know what I mean? So I noticed a void in hip hop. My job's to fill the emptiness. While you work on getting famous, I'm inches from infamous. Basically, the things that I was doing at the time when I was writing this was the time when, you know, ringtone rappers was, you know, hot, when flashy suits and all that stuff. Jiggy, you know, rap was, you know, pretty popular in the 2000s when I was originally writing this stuff. And, you know, everybody just wanted to get famous, kind of like it is today, which is why I felt like this was important to put out today. You know what I mean? So, you know, you work on getting famous because everybody wants to be famous. You got a TikTok, you know, everybody's trying to be famous. Everybody's trying to go viral. You work on getting famous. I'm inches from infamous. I'm inches from, you know, going down in the pantheon of hip hop heads. And, you know, one of the coolest things that ever happened to me was, you know, kind of seeing my name up on that Grammy stage, which, you know what I mean? Like, I'm inches from infamous, you know what I'm saying? Because I write like a kamikaze lives life, detonate cockpits when I spit, tongue lashing, I'm crashing mics, see. Uncommon beauty is commonly overlooked. This is one of my favorite lines in the whole verse. Uncommon beauty is commonly overlooked. So for that reason, I kept walking past my crown. That's why I love living life in circles, because I keep finding things that I missed the first time around. See, this was the perfect intro for this album because I was in a transition and still am in a transition at the time when I was writing it and at the time of release. And the transition became more and more apparent, you know, as I was getting closer to releasing the album and putting the album out. And I started to recognize that because I had my head so far up in the clouds trying to just, you know, be the best rapper, and I was starting to neglect some family. I was starting to kind of neglect my relationship with God, my relationship with my wife. You know, things were not in the right places. And, you know, it took me a couple circulations, you know what I'm saying? It took me a couple rotations around the sun, a couple years to really start to see those things, the beautiful things that I was missing out on. Now I'm back to where I started, a driven artist with purpose, a little older, a little wiser, no longer depressed or worthless. See, this was post Celestial. I think it was after Diabolical as well. So I had kind of gotten out of the darkness of my life. I wasn't depressed anymore. I was still in touch with my emotional side, but I wasn't depressed anymore. And that wasn't the focus of my life and the focus of my lyrics. And I felt like I was writing for a reason and not just writing for writing's sake. For a long time in my career, there was a time where I felt like I was writing for writing's sake because I felt like people weren't really gravitating to the things that I was putting out. You know, when I put out the Lucid Logic record, when I put out the A Man Who Thinks With His Own Mind record, which I think are two really dope records of mine. But I feel like people were kind of missing the boat and not really appreciating the things that I was doing, you know. But at this point in my life, when I was putting this record out, I felt rejuvenated in a way about music and about life and about art in general, because I've stepped into production now, getting busy with photography now, you know, learning how to DJ a little bit, you know what I'm saying? So I got another, you know, lifetime of learning ahead of me, and it's still related to my art. So, you know, not just a rapper. When I said I'm back to where I started, driven artist in the full sense of the word, not just a music artist, but an artist in general. Back to where I started, a driven artist with purpose, a little older, a little wiser, no longer depressed or worthless. I'm starving again, homie. Hunger can't explain. I'll bite the hand that feeds from fingertip to shoulder blade. Nothing's gonna stop me. Whatever I want to do, wherever I want to go in my life, whether it's music, whether it's art, whether it's in my life, period, I'm not going to let anything stop me. And if it tries to, I'm going to rip that arm off. I'm going to rip something off. You're not going to stop me. You know what I'm saying? Fingertip to shoulder blade. And just a little while ago, I was thinking about retirement. And see, I wrote this a long time ago, and I was thinking about retirement then. And even in this time, when I was working on a transition, I was actually thinking about retirement again. So, it's wild. And if you've listened to any of my interviews recently, I have talked about, not really concentrating on doing another full-length album for a while. And that's because I'm really concentrating on, fulfilling what I believe I need to fulfill in my personal life and as an artist. I think I've earned the right to take a break and take a rest and really reevaluate and figure out the things that I want to do artistically going forward, and do things with purpose and do things with intention, and not just put albums out because I need to put an album out. I have a good job. I don't need to do music. Music is a part of me, and it's, pouring out of my soul and out of my heart. So I'm always going to do it. But the pressures and the weight of putting albums out and working on full-length albums all by myself these days, since I handle the production and the mixing and all that stuff, it's pretty daunting. So I'm not necessarily looking at that aspect of it, but I'm looking at the freedom of being the type of artist and becoming the type of artist that, I know that I can. All right. So just a little while ago, I was thinking about retirement. I was fed up with rappers in this industry's environment, truth. But Rome wasn't built in a day or even two. God called me to change the world, and I'm starting with you. This is basically to anybody who is new listening to me. And, cats that have been listening to me for a while. You never get where you want to be in the first step that you take. Rome wasn't built in a day. Everyone's heard that saying. And, that saying just means that things take time. Great things take time. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not rushing my greatness anymore. I'm not looking for the next fix musically anymore. I'm going to take my time and let my greatness be built the way it's supposed to be, not on anyone else's time frame, but my own. I sing like no one's listening and dance like no one's watching. At this point in my career, I'm just going for it. You know what I'm saying? Whatever I feel like doing, whatever kind of music I feel like making, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm going. You know what I'm saying? I sing like no one's listening and dance like no one's watching. For me, it's an exercise. You have no other option. Call yourself an artist, but the art isn't done right. I blossom in the darkness while you wither in sunlight. See, I make masterpieces and laugh at your bars. Take a hint. I'm leaving footprints in the path of the stars. When I actually do stop, leaving footprints in the path of the stars, my music is going to live forever. All of us, whoever makes music is going to live forever. But I believe that because I've put so much heart and soul into my art over these years, that I feel like I've made things that's going to last, that aren't going to age. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I was able to, rekindle this verse from so long ago, because, I'm leaving footprints in the path of the stars. My stuff is going to be ageless. You know what I mean? Like, 30, 40 years from now, I believe, that there will be, no matter how small a group of people, there will be people that, will find my music and find a lot of our music and actually study it and really, dissect the things that we were saying, dissect the things that we were talking about. So, which is why it's so important, to take pride in the things that we say and the things that we impart to others over these tracks. You know what I mean? Place all your egos on the top shelf, because victory's in the preparation for the game, not the game itself. I love that line. I do my best to prepare. You know what I'm saying? I do my best to make sure that when it's time to go, I have the practice and the preparation that I need in order to respond the way that I need to respond in certain situations, whether it's artistically, whether it's in life. You play how you practice. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't just miraculously come up with the energy and the skill to do supernatural things without getting things into your soul and into your spirit and getting that muscle memory. So that's important. Victory's in the preparation for the game, not the game itself. Now, when I die, I'm going to fly with the angels. And when I die to the angels, where I land, you can imagine. I'm concerned with the condition of my soul's transition, and your biggest concern is rocking the latest fashions. I'm worried about being a good person, and you're worried about, the latest now thing. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. The passion was lost before I found my balance. I didn't want to do this anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like we talked about earlier in the song, I was thinking about retirement. You know what I'm saying? The passion was lost before I found my balance. And this is where, I kind of really started to feel these lyrics in certain places and where I was at the moment. You know what I'm saying? The passion was lost before I found my balance. Now I know it takes a little more than ink and talent to progress. It's time for me to make moves and take control of the reins on my career, and in the process, I'll obliterate the nonsense. I just felt like now was the time for me to really grab hold of everything. And like I said, be on my own time for once, not really worrying about, I got to put a new record out or else people gonna forget about me. When I was dealing with labels, the label need another record. I don't have a job, a steady job, so I got to put a record out to make money. I don't have those issues anymore. You know what I'm saying? I don't have those kind of problems anymore. So I can look at my art as something that is exciting and special and something that I want to be great, and I can take my time with it. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to deal with any of the pressures that come along. I do this for my 3 sons, my wife, and close cipher, for every fan I've ever had the pleasure to inspire. I've walked through the fire so you wouldn't burn your hands, and I've drowned in the water so you could stay on dry land. I've walked in the rain so you can notice the rainbows. I've drowned in the pain so you can smile when the sun glows. Like all of that whole part, where I'm saying, I do this for my wife, my friends, and I'm saying I do this for you as well. Like, it's almost like the line that Jay-Z said, Hove did that, so hopefully you don't have to go through that. Like, this is just my version of that. Like I've walked through the fire. I've done a lot of these things. This is part of why we do Super Duty Tough Work, because we've experienced a lot of the ups and downs of being artists and being independent artists, and we try to impart wisdom. So hopefully you guys won't go through a lot of the, ups and downs and the misfortunes that we had to go through. That's what I want my career to be looked back on as an example. You know what I mean? Like I want people to look at my career and see like, Illogic did this. So, and he messed up, you know what I'm saying? So, and he's showing me and he's telling me about how he messed up and where he messed up. And so I won't have to deal with those situations. I try to do that with my kids. I try to do that with everybody that I come around, try to help them avoid danger, avoid barricades, avoid that ditch that's coming up. You know what I'm saying? So, that's really a big part of my career. And, this song overall, Hot Lead, was really an exercise in lyricism, but also, if you peel the layers back and peel back the flyness of, me spitting and the dopeness of the beat, because the beat is kind of fire, if I do say so myself. There's a lot in here about, where I am currently in my life and what I think about my career going forward and how I want to leave my career when I finally do. And I just hope you guys are still along for the ride, you know what I mean? Because there is a lot coming, and I'm looking forward to being in front of y'all, no matter how, might be as a producer, might be as a poet, as a DJ, and still as a rapper. You know what I'm saying? You never know. Author, you never know what comes up. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, got something out of it, and look forward to the next one. This is Beats and B-Sides Map Your Transition series, and this has been the breakdown of Hot Lead. Peace, y'all. Yeah. I notice avoiding hip-hop, my job's to fill the emptiness. You work on getting famous, I'm inches from infamous, cause I write like a kamikaze lives life. Detonate cockpits when I spit tongue lashing, I'm crashing mic seat.